When you hear that song, it means the good Rev is back in the Bew.
Indeed, I'm back in the Bew, and I've been queried left, right, and center by a number of people on my page. They would literally ask me, you're not on today! Why? And they come on my inbox and they hound me. I said, no, but I couldn't make it because 1, 2, 3. Rev. So there's somebody who actually, when I post on Thursday, any statuses I post, they actually come on the status and is the show on today?
Oh, they ask.
Yes.
They should just tune in.
So a big shout out to Kay. I know you're listening somewhere. That's Timothy. And he always says that, Rev Walter. He likes making fun. So he always asks if I'm going to be on, and then a number of other people. I think a Gilbert or a Gregory or somebody does always ask as well. So there's a number of people who really do check to see if I'll be on. So to all of you listening in, thanks. I think last week I even had my good man, Lorenzo. Lorenzo is a well-known journalist that used to host Chat Back on Christian Voice. Yeah, so he actually called me last week and said, Rev, we were waiting for the red flags. What are you going to you? So I said, Lorenzo, sorry. I was caught up somewhere, but hopefully this week will be, and here I am. So it's happening. And this red flag topic, did you get any feedback yourself directly from any of the content before we jump and try and see if we can cover more of these topics?
It's crazy because obviously with me, I usually tag people. I'll just forward the video to them. So there are 1 or 2 people who are actually my friends who I send the video to.
Oh, neat.
Females. And
they were not impressed.
I tried to explain 1 or 2 things, especially and I told you should do the tattoo thing because one of my friends has got tattoos.
So we didn't do the tattoo thing.
We didn't talk about the tattoo.
Okay, no, we're getting to it.
We didn't talk about the tattoo, and she's got tattoos. So I said, so what did your Rev have to say about ask women with tattoos?
Okay, so guys, listen. The way this thing works, right? Today I'm not doing any other rants. We're going straight into this. We give it all the attention it deserves and we clear it. So this thing about red flags is very simple to understand. So you see, this topic actually came about because my good friend, a young man that is almost like a spiritual son, but is more of a mentee than a son, Chisapo and I were having a serious conversation. He came to do do for me, in his own words, he came to do the Chola boy thing, that thing where he says, Rev, when you have your next event, just tell me, I want to just talk with you and just be a blessing. I said, okay. So we had one of those, like go to the event, do the thing, come back. So there was a lot of talking. So in the process, that's how we got talking about these red flags. And this particular book, well, I don't know if it's a book, but this series is offered by a guy called Richard Rich Cooper. And he listed these 20 flags. Now, of course, Richard has his own very colorful, expletively heavy description of all this, which we can't do that. So, but I loved the info, and I found it a very, very rich reserve of information to help people that are in the point where they want to make the big jump. They want to transition from bachelorhood into marriage, and it's a very interesting space. So, what it is though is that these red flags are not nice because they are true, and so many people find them very offensive. So again, we give the warning: if you're not going to be able to stomach this, please, Mungazimi Radio. Alrighty? Oh, there's a Maxam Smith Jr. here who's saying, Tiripo. So just comment, tag somebody if you're watching us. Big fat shout out to you out there. I'm pointing at you right now. So make sure there's no waving. So make sure you do your thing. Go tag people. Say, hey, he's talking about the red flags. Red flags, tag people. Anybody you know is getting married or planning to get married, you want them on this. If you yourself are planning to get married, go tag some people, get them on this because they will need the information. It is a life-saving bit of information. So this is very important. Then also we've got a scoring grade, which we hardly ever touched on because it's a bit difficult. But the way it's designed, the scoring grade is that you are going to score. I'm going to give you scores between 10 all the way through to about 50 for the highest. So the really bad ones are scored at 50. And then when you're done with all the but when you're done with all the grading, you can actually add them up. So let me see if I can find the additions. Yes. So here is the scoring. So total scores is 450. So obviously nobody gets a total score of 450. That's a really bad go. So if your scores come to between 0 and 50, this is a manageable lady. There is hope for this lady. With work and good counsel, you can find a teachable spirit. These things can be changed. So anybody up to 50, when you add all the 20 and the score is less than 50, you're with a good girl. And then between 51 and 120, you will notice certain red flags connect with others and so create a multifaceted situation. Again, if the score is between 50 and 120, it's manageable. And if the lady is willing to work together with a qualified counselor and is herself teachable, of a good spirit, there is always hope. But anyone from 121 to 200, that's not so encouraging. It shows that there's serious issues at play, and those may be much harder to deal with, even with counseling, except where a radical personality transformation takes place. And I want you to know this, guys. Radical transformations don't happen except where Jesus is involved. Anyway, but let me leave it at that. Some people do get woke somewhere along the way, and then they change. And then finally, 201 not finally. Then you got the 201 to 300 score. Any score about 200 is frankly discouraging because you're dealing with set ways, and these are hard to change. You may ignore them and try and make it work, but experience and statistics show differently. The chances of staying married after the wedding will quickly diminish. And anybody above 300 is a no-go area. Only God can work with those people. Only those who harbor fantasies of changing people in the future are the ones who can proceed with a wedding. So these type of ladies marry at your own peril. So let's now move in. So again, the red flags for those who missed them. Number 1 is daddy issues, a score of 30. Number 2 are feminists with a score of 50. So feminists are pretty bad. Number 3 are unhappy and unlucky with a score of 15. So very, very manageable. Number 4 keeps men from her past around. That's a score of 40. Poor with money, 10. Violent woman, 50. I mean, there's a famous socialite in America who stabbed her boyfriend to death. And I mean, she was so violent that there are videos that show her literally repeatedly insulting the boyfriend and calling him names and beating him up and punching him. And the guy was so reasonable. But it ended, about 1 to 2 weeks later, it ended in an actual death. So this idea, society always pictures men as being violent, but there are some very violent women as well. Very violent women. And so I will tell you this, the same way you run from a violent man, if you're a guy and your woman is the type that throws stuff at you and, beats you and punches you and throws slaps and things like that, a woman, stay away. Because that woman is a killer. They're a potential killer. They can stab you whilst you're sleeping. They can pour hot water on you. They can burn you with oil. They can do all kind of crazy things depending on the offense. Stay away from such a woman. That's a 50. Stay away from her. Red flag, extreme jealousy, also quite bad. It's a 30. There are those girls who go through whatever trauma they go through and they're a nightmare. Then a party girl, that's a 40. Stay away from party girls unless you just want to use them and leave them. Then heavily tattooed, pierced woman, 40. So they're in the same range. That's the one that's interesting. And I'm talking about heavily tattooed. You see, there's a difference between tattooed. I'm not in any way supporting any tattoos, but there's tuma tattoos, bonga kalembo, kakupakona, so thing. And then there are the ones who have body art.
Of course, yes.
So body art is what I'm talking about.
Okay, body art.
Yes, and also pierced. So there's normal piercings. We've said this before, we'll talk about it. But there are piercings where it's just like an earring, nose ring. Culturally, nose rings are accepted in certain cultures, so it's not a big deal. But tongue ring, you start asking questions. Nipple ring.
More questions.
And the other area, ring, uja ni BDSM. BDSM stands for bondage, dominant, sadomasochist.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are BDSMs. Those are the type who want to be chained and whipped. And as they're being whipped, that's when they feel good. When they have violent sex, that's when they feel good. So such women have issues. That's why they have those piercings. Then number 11, high number of past sexual partners. You remind me which ones we spoke about, so that we jump them. A 50 for such a woman. And really the rule of thumb is any woman with more than 5 past relationships, 10 or more, 10 will be better. Above 10, that.
But wait first. I find like there's some people who are just unlucky. They just have unlucky sort of relationships.
And so do you know what that does now? The unlucky relationships, it keeps giving them different experiences. You see, the problem with this whole past sexual partners, okay, I'll get to it. Let's finish. So it's a 50 for that one also, right?
Okay.
50 for that one. 12 single mothers, 30. Remember, we dealt with that. And then 13 women seeking validation, 30. And there's a lot of women seeking validation. This is a bad one. And then number 14, she was a sugar baby. Not so bad. It's a 20 because she could have been the only sugar baby. But remember, if it's a sugar baby with the high body count, Valinchito. And if it's a sugar baby, high body count, and single mother, that's a bad combo.
Even worse.
Yeah, you're Ivarankoni. Pathological liars, that my babes who just like lying for reasons that are best known to themselves. 30. Then the ladies with baby rabies, you got to be ready. So baby rabies, I talked about, that's when they want a child. And usually it's in the 30s when they realize their biological clock is ticking. And you know, it's so sad, eh? I mean, did you know that women have a finite number of eggs? Are you aware of that? Yeah, women have a finite number of eggs they can have. Apparently, it's about roughly 500,000 eggs. Done. Okay, it's 500,000 or 50,000. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But they're done. Whereas guys, we just keep producing. So biologically, not spiritually, biologically, even at 70 you can have a child, even at 80. Things are still coming out down there. And they can germinate. But with women, that's not the case. There's a point where they reach and they just can't.
There was a story of an 80-year-old woman who gave birth.
Yeah. Those are exceptions.
Recently.
So those are exceptions. Yeah, that's where either some hormonal issue took place or just a miracle. Because when they go through menopause, that's the end of the story. But there are instances, I know instances where, like one of the ladies I know, when she was pregnant, she didn't even know she was pregnant because she was sick and everything, and it didn't make any sense. And then one day they went to the hospital and they kept going, and the doctors were wondering. And then one day they said, have you considered we do a pregnancy test? She said, impossible. I've been in menopause for the last 15 years. I don't even have periods. Let's just do. What do you mean? It was a shocker because that baby came when she was, I think, 55 or 58.
Wow.
But she already had, of course, older children. So the gap between her firstborn and this baby is crazy. It's like a grandchild. So there are exceptions like that. No. But the general rule of thumb, I'll tell you, brother, is that usually menopause quasira. So these women have got a limited number, so they tend to get into panic mode when they reach a certain age. So if you're a guy and you're ready for that, no problem. But if you're not, I think you want to stay away from such ladies. And then but the score is not bad. It's a 30. Hissy fits are the ones who just freak out. Everything, they just freak out. And it's like a drama arrangement. That's where the idea drama queen comes from. But it's not so bad. It's 20 feet. It's 20 points. It's not like the violent lady. That's a 50. This one's a 20. Number 18, not being in control of the birth. These are the ladies that trick you into a child. So I'm talking, I'm on a secular station, so no one should give me grief at it, but reverend, they're not supposed to have sex before. Well, they are doing it, so let's talk about it. With or without rules, these guys are doing it. And these days, even Vam Church now, once we're not getting system, they are all busy having sex. Yes, Tim, I've tuned you, XA, I've tuned you. So these guys are all having sex already. And so some of the ladies, they feel that the only way to keep the guy is to trap him and have a baby. Yeah, so that's another area. It's a 15, nothing bad. Drama queen, a bit different. That's a 30, and then addictions. That's a 50. So let's go. Remind me, we did daddy issues, so I'm going to skip. That's number 1, and then number 2 we did feminist. We did that, right?
Oh yes, we did.
Yes. So we skipped that. Then we go to number 3. We did the unhappy and unlucky. We did that. So let's see. Unhappy and unlucky. Okay, so we did this, huh? So I can move on.
Unhappy? No.
Okay, so it's not a big score; it's a small one. But let's read it. So Robert Greene's 10th law advises us to stay away from unhappy and unlucky individuals. If you haven't read the 48 laws of power, it's suggested to do so, and always avoid associating with those who exude unhappiness and misfortune. So avoid the unhappy and unlucky. That's what that law says. So through this principle, though this principle is not exclusively directed at women, it is mentioned here in context. So these particular women are considered unproductive to engage with, as their constant discontent can diminish one's happiness. Okay, such women tend to have an ongoing plethora of issues in their lives, which may attract individuals who feel compelled to rescue them. So you go in there feeling like you're like a Superman to try and help the woman. I've got news for you guys. You are not Superman. There's only one Superman. His name is Jesus. You are a groom, but grooming is for wives, not for girlfriends. So don't you fall for that trick where you want to become the rescuer, unless you're ready to bargain with this. So if you're ready to bargain with this, then you can go ahead and rescue the woman. How many cases do you know where people have moved in to rescue, and then after all the rescue, the woman actually falls in love with someone else?
Several.
Exactly.
Several occasions.
So there's major cases of people paying school fees, taking girlfriends through university, education and everything. Then they get to the end, the girlfriend is even pregnant with some other dude. After 4 years. There's a guy recently, very sad case, where he went with a gun and shot the girl dead at the university.
Actually, we've had...
remember, and he even filmed it. That's how crazy the guy was.
Let me just say, in the last 4 years, Rev, we've had stories of that nature where... and unfortunately, it's been people in law enforcement.
Yes.
You know, where an individual works as a police officer or whatever, he has a girlfriend he's been paying for. And most of the time, it's either she's doing nursing or whatever. And then she just decides to, after she graduates, like, no, this is not, you're not the man I want to be with.
Exactly. And you see, and so the problem, let me talk to my brothers now. Let's just do some serious talking. You're not doing a mention today, huh? So we're just going straight into
the headlines coming up shortly.
All right, so we'll go there just now. But let me leave you with a cliffhanger. Those type of girls are not in love with you. They are in need of your help because they're in a situation. So you have become the solution to their problem for that time. And so you're a knight in shining armor, you're a hero. But as soon as you've rescued her, the hero complex disappears and reality hits home. And then she says, what in God's name did I see in this guy? Oh no, he's the one who helped me. So now she hangs around with you because she feels sorry because you spent so much money on her. But there's no love. Love type, it's not there. Love. So you get to a place where even being with her, she feels repulsed. Let me give you some simple signals, my brothers, to know this woman is repulsed. When you walk with her, the one you've rescued, when you walk with her, how is she around you? Is she touchy, or does she try and pull like a hand away? When you try and hold her, does she pull like a hand away? If you try and hug her, does she kind of let go of you fast? You know, there's what we call hidden subliminal body language. You can pick that this person doesn't really want to be hugged, doesn't really want to be around you, doesn't really, there are things you can see. But guys, you love my guys. Completely. So you don't see anything, and that's how you end up messed up. Let me pause here so that we jump into the news. We come back, we pick it up, we finish off with this knight in shining armor and how bad it can be.
All right.
Music and talk radio on another level. Radio after 6.
Easy just got bigger. Easy just got bigger.
Ulani easy apaka ni DVD.
Easy just got bigger.
Utaleko na something imwe easily. 120 grams of bigger is better. Easy is always ahead. Easy got the most flavors. Easy is always ahead. You spoke and we heard.
Easy just got bigger.
Easy apaka.
Easy just got bigger. Easy just got bigger.
Easy apaka.
Easy just got bigger. Easy just got bigger.
Chepa.
Easy noodles just got bigger. Now available in 120 grams.
Our eagle first took flight in 1964 with one mission: to take Zambia to the world and bring the world to Zambia. Our eagle flew students abroad and brought them back as skilled scholars to contribute to the development of our then young nation. Our eagle couriered gifts and postcards across the globe to let our loved ones know that no matter how far apart we were still thinking about them. Our eagle was adored across the continent and was the pride of the nation. Our eagle has once again spread her wings and is back in full flight, soaring the skies. Zambia Airways, the new wings of Africa.
The news headlines every second hour
are sponsored by Swan Insurance Zambia.
For you, for them, for life. Swan, for life.
It's 19 hours and these are the headlines. Police in Lusaka have charged FDD President Edith Naakwi and 3 others with additional offences of espionage and proposing tribal war. Technical Education, Vocation, Entrepreneurship Training Authority says Zambia's strategic vision to increase the manufacturing sector output to 15% by 2026 requires appropriate skills to accelerate productivity. The Rural Electrification Authority has appealed to councils across the country to consider allocating more funds towards rural electrification beyond 1 million kwacha. In international news, pressure is growing on U.S. President Joe Biden to allow Ukraine to use Western-supplied weapons to strike Russian territory. And in sports news, Chelsea are believed to be exploring market for goalkeepers as they work to finalize Enzo Maresca's appointment as manager. Be sure to catch the main bulletin coming up at 20 hours.
Zambia's award-winning and most trusted news and entertainment provider. Consistently delivering unrivaled world-class radio 24/7, 365. We are Hot FM.
Take that and rewind it back.
Radio After 6, the classic edition, where memories live.
Money, 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 money when you need it.
Yeah, bah, I'm out of cash.
15 minutes. Up to 10,000 kwacha in just 15 minutes at any of our Express Credit branches nationwide. Bring your ID, payslip, and bank statement for super quick processing. By the way, Express Credit has a special offer for government employees as well, offering up to 100,000 kwacha for your financial needs. Visit Express Credit branches or call 3334 for more information.
Money, 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 money when you need it.
This is what it has come to, the moment that defines a season. It's the finale, and I want it all. I want all the goals and the drama. I want Pep and Klopp racing for the top. I want the biggest stars shining on Champions League nights. I want the fairy tale stories and the glory. I want the passion of Serie A. I want the flair of La Liga. I want the Premier League. I want the football finals. I want it all. Reconnect to catch every match live on DSTV.
Music and talk radio on another level. Radio After 6. Rev Walter on Prosperity Insights. Now on Hot FM.
All right, so that's the story with the happy, unhappy, and unlucky. Huh? So just stay away from these people. And here's some clues. This is what we call a close red flag. So if they go beyond 10 to 20 or 30, is if you see many relics like anointed oil, anointed water, and a series of a blaming of curses and misfortunes on her life and how the devil and the agents are after her. Perhaps you could help her undergo mindset change to train her how to stop being a victim. So some of them have the victim mentality, and in many ways it is used as a way to lure the people in. But unfortunately, when they are out of this situation, they realize that they were not in love with you. They were in a desperate situation because you were the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So number 4, she competes with you. Well, not a high score. So let's move on Then number 5, keeps men from a past around. Can I do this one?
Let's hear it.
Very simply put, any woman who seems to have a strong running relationship with her exes is just not a healthy option, regardless of what excuses may be made. And this is worse off if that continues even when betrothals have been made. In our culture, that would be tumbale and insalamu. Okay, so if this lady chooses to continue those relationships and this becomes a point of your differing, then that is a red flag. You should drop the score. It should even go all the way to 50. Okay, so same rating for feminists, same rating for high body count, because the fact that that relationship remains is not a healthy one. So what are the issues here? So the first thing one ought to know is that women desire options and choices in their lives. Okay, remember that? According to a recent survey, a Gallup poll, almost half of married women admitted having a backup plan, meaning they may consider other potential partners. I admit I was shocked myself. However, if you are entering a long-term relationship and she expects you to commit exclusively to her, she needs to fully commit to you as well by cutting off all emotional ties with other men and embracing her new life with you. So, for example, in some cases, women become what is known as an alpha widow. Okay, so this term refers to a woman who still longs for a high-status alpha male who didn't commit to her in the past. So even if she's no longer in touch with him, if she holds on to the idea of him as the one who got away, it can prevent her from fully embracing her relationship with you. It makes it very difficult for you to be her top choice.
Even if she's married?
Some even when they're married, yes. So it's crucial that she genuinely and passionately desires you. You don't want to settle for being just good enough. That's why if you vo papatila mkazi, especially a girlfriend, because a wife, that's a wife. It's a different story.
Yeah.
But because there now you've made commitments, a covenant. There's all sorts of things going on with a spouse. But with a girlfriend, upapatila, and then okay, out of pity. All right, But when you're not there, you even hear the story with a friend that in a Kansas chachani na reverend money off, because daily bango boil up, and then sinidi interested now. So that's the challenge that you have with such people, right?
True.
So here's the thing. She needs to genuinely desire you. You can't be just good enough, and instead you should aim to be absolute best option in her eyes. Having her focus on her ex-boyfriends or other male friends can lead to problems and should be avoided, as you don't want to be the person she settled for. If you're a man striving for excellence in your life, it's essential to avoid distractions like your partner seeking attention from or still longing for other men. Men and women often have different interests, but a common theme is men desiring sexual intimacy with women while women seek attention and resources from men. Do you see that? So women are looking for attention. Oh, he makes me feel good. But mdara target ni kungena moja. Ndiye target. Also now Martin, no, it's purely platonic. Did you have a fling in the past? Yeah, well, but it never went there. Friends with benefits. Nonsense. Those things must end. Let me tell you guys, don't be one of those guys who just says, no, it's okay, I'm just, as long as I can just be a source of Kuribe, uyomuntu, beware. Because if you're not careful, it's going to affect you. No, say something. I just want to plug my thing. It's not plugged properly.
I wanted to share a story with you, Rev. I'm going to share a story with you shortly. Almost close to the story that you were talking about, where, a mother is advising the daughter to say, look, just use him, let him finish paying the fees.
Can you imagine?
And then when you're done with school, just tell him it's over because I know you're in love with somebody else.
So meaning that was just a source of money.
Yes.
And that's what women like to do. So they like to look for men as resources, but men look for women for the business. So whatever they are doing, end game, mukati much. So you have to realize that in long-term relationships there should be no place for male friends in our life. Let me just say it, guys. But I do understand that those really good friends who never had anything going, I know they are there. I've also had ladies who I was friends with like that. But you know, when they get married or when I got married, I had to just...
You have to cut.
No.
You just have to cut.
Yeah, you say, you know what, from now on, I've got this lady now. So thanks, you've been a good friend. God bless you, man. You just have to minimize. You can't be spending 4 hours chatting. No.
The bestie nonsense, as they call it.
You're questionable, mdala. You're questionable. So if you're listening to me, guys, I'm telling you. Then here's a tip. Does she spend unhealthy and unusually long periods of time on the phone or even on outings with this ex? Do they seem to have conversations you are not part to? Try asking to take a look at their chats they have on the phone. And if there's resistance and hesitance, that's a red flag, my friend. It's simple. Yes, Aulo manje. So I'm going to so manje. Got to phone. I know I'm being a negative influence here. But if you're listening to me right now on radio and you have a girlfriend, because wives is a whole other story. If you have a girlfriend and she's your friend, so and you're close, but she has this friend, phone sir, we are gonna phone, we will give a message, warning at a phone. Ngatakan, you need sign him that. Proceed at your own rescue. Closed red flag. Are the chats blocked? And right now, are they on private? Do they disappear? Red flag.
Especially those disappearing messages, Rev.
Does she walk away to take calls? Why should she walk away?
Red flag.
Or is it so bad she can, or is it so bad she can sit in your presence and continue chatting and laughing as with the ex as if you are invisible? Which can be like so deep. Hold on. What are you saying, babes? So no, don't worry. He was just asking me. Seriously? And by the way, this is also for men. If you're a woman and this man of yours has this type of relationship, it won't go anywhere. So anyway, let's go to the next one. Number 6, poor with money. But this is not a serious one. These are the ones who are just bad at spending money.
Yeah.
And this one, okay, it may be, but this one, the challenge right now is because of the gambling factor. Yeah, the gambling factor has become a bad factor. There are people who are in debt, but I was doing some research. There's 2 people recently, very close people I know, who committed suicides, and both were as a result of debt. And upon examination, it was gambling debt.
Wow.
Yes. This is why I have nothing nice to say about betting companies and gambling companies, because for me, they are literally the most legitimate drug pushers you have out there, because they make money for everyone. They make money for the networks. They make money for the football clubs. They make money for the government through taxes. They make everybody involved in betting is making a killing. But you know who's at the end of that line? Some poor guy getting loans, mortgaging houses, putting cars on collateral, and getting their life totally destroyed. And some of those people, their lives are so destroyed, the only option left is to commit suicide. And it's debt related. But you say, but how does somebody kill themselves over Congo? It's betting. Because you even look at their lives, you don't see anything. It's betting. So this poor with money for women is a precursor to debt because of betting. This is where the biggest problem is. So let's move on. So if they are in this and you notice that they gamble, just run away. I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to rescue her. She has to get to a place. Gambling is so addictive and betting is so addictive. It needs somebody to wake up on their own. You, no, or me have no capacity as individuals to help bring those people out of that state. We have no ability to do that. So it's a sad thing. Number 7, violent women. Do you want us to read this? Me, I'm saying run away. Just run. You may think it's cool in some twisted, kinky kind of way, but just like hissy fits and bouts of extreme jealousy, these tend to be the tip of the iceberg, especially if the violence streaks are exhibited at the start of the relationship. Remember that there is so much covering up and true character traits tend to be hidden during courtship. So ngati amba kumenya kudala kuponya mampoto. Anyway, so just stay away from such women. So these ones you don't want to deal with them, especially those who then break everything. I know some people think it's really cool, but for me, people have been killed. I think even recently I saw some report where somebody got killed by a violent woman. So nightclubs and general loud events. She hangs out with her friends, and if she isn't interested in you, would have the habit of having her friends tag along for any date, which tends to end with their gang heading to the next night spot for fun. She's the type that will go out Friday night, sleep out, pass through her home to change, head to work, then straight to another chill spot for further fun with her friends, right into Sunday, which is spent nursing a major hangover. Church if she's super guilty, kapena azaendako ku church, but usually it's just to help get rid of the guilt. Ati awe mandi tufike ku church ungapi. So that's how it takes them to church. Otherwise, so many women under the age of 27 who haven't been in long-term relationships often go through a phase of enjoying parties and social events. So if you meet a woman in such settings who claims to be relationship material but continues to party regularly, you have two choices. It's two things involved. It is basketball. Two things involved. One, you can communicate that women in committed relationships typically don't engage in frequent partying. And if she persists, you can save yourself grief and end the relationship. That's number one. Or two, you can choose to maintain a friendship with her, often referred to friends with benefits. And I don't recommend that as a pastor, but I'm talking to people in the secular station. So by those who do not subscribe to genuine Christian standards or hyper grace or the hyper grace movement that think it's okay. So the problem with this type of people is that they are not serious. So leave them or have friendship with benefits. But just know you are not the only one. That's why I call you all over. Munga campelo. You know what I mean? Is it campilo? That kind of thing. So the parting phase is not limited to women under 27 only. There are indeed some women who married early, had kids, and then later divorced in their 30s, who then realize that they missed out on life. So they are trying to do catch up.
Yeah.
And
there are a lot of them, right?
I know.
There are a lot of them. Just go to TikTok.
Yes.
You'll see.
Big woman, so in her 30s, late 30s, busy like actually competing our fan. Ndechebeni madabwa all over social media, no names mentioned. Ubeza chimzimai chima 40s going to 50. Chishushana pa social media nakamfana. Yo imani sowesa hiyo. Anyway, so back to our topic. So being in an exclusive long-term relationship with a woman who regularly parties, it is very challenging because many times they spend them doing what? Grooming and dressing to attract other men. So if she's engaging in such, it may not be a suitable relationship for you. Why would you want a woman who's busy looking? You know, there's a saying that I like. If you're not marketing, don't advertise.
Yep. We know that one, right?
Why is your guy?
Yes.
If you are not marketing, don't advertise. Huh? So you can't have a situation where you are supposed to be in a serious relationship, but ungoenda na mamini uvalia mini ndani ku club. Why are you having minis and long nails and flashy hair and hips all over and the cleavage out there? What for? Why are you walking half naked? And you're saying, no, I'm in a committed what kind of committed relationship? What are you serious? So this one is a very, very tough one. So if they are not ready, let them go. But there's, of course, the new generation now. They're calling it polyamory. You've heard of it?
No.
Polyamory and polyandry is the idea where it's a woman with multiple men who is openly in that situation. Polyandry. So it's the equivalent of polygamy.
Okay.
These days the women are doing that. There's a recent movie with Zendaya. I think it's called The Challengers or something. in the trailer, there's actually like a part where she's actually Zendaya, that famous actress from Disney. Anakula man. She's in Dune. She's the Kawan in Dune from the Desert People. Kamenekaj. So she's got a movie where she's a tennis instructor or something, and she's got these two tennis boyfriends, ex and current. And there's a scene in that movie where she is on the bed with both guys. You see how this sick Hollywood is advertising?
They're pushing the narrative.
Yeah. So it is what in the porn industry they call an MMF. You know? Very tragic. So if you are one of those polyamory guys, then maybe I'm talking to, like, it's a useless talk. But if you're not a polyamory, what the heck are you doing sharing your potential wife with another guy? Huh? It's not normal. So, in short, party woman, Ivalan Coin. And if she also happens to be like a super drunk, Ivalan Coin. Blackout. What is you?
I know them.
Kaimu club blacked out. Like, God help us. I don't even know what's going on with her now with the dudes. Of course, in other countries, I think even in Zambia now, I don't know about Zambia, but in the US and UK, even if she's blacked out like that, I have a friend of mine who went to jail for 6 years. Yes, because when the girl woke up, she's like, "What did you do to me?" Kalida kind of police. It was a rape case. He was even locked up. And he went to jail 6 months, 6 years rather, for that. So, but then the other sad part, you see, these days of social media, one of the things I'm scared of is that people are in the habit of lacing drinks.
Yes.
And when they lace that drink, they take that girl and they do things to the girl. They gang bang her. And many times, to make sure they really put her in a fix, they film that. Yes, there's been instances, quite a number, especially in colleges. So it's been going on. And so when they film that, they make sure they are not visible. But the girl is visible. And you can imagine what that does to a girl who's not too sharp. So you girls who like partying like there's no tomorrow, I'll give you some advice. And it's funny coming from a pastor, but I'm going to give you some life advice. It's just basic life, common sense advice. Number one, if you're like a party animal that doesn't want to settle down, party with friends. Never go alone as a party animal, because those are the ones that find themselves in trouble, because some dudes will set that girl up and they will make sure they drug you, spike your drink, you pass out, and then they do things to you. So a number of ladies have been raped badly, gang raped. And now it's so embarrassing. How do you go to the police? Then people will know you were gang raped. And then now you become you go into this whole psychotic thing. So even if you are enjoying the partying, there's another little thing I should also mention, which is very interesting. A lot of party girls are hiding pain. So they're using party as a coping mechanism, especially if they party and drink.
Drink a lot, yes.
Yeah, so they are trying to cope with pain. So if you're the dude and then you come across this girl and she's going through this whole partying thing and whatever, be extra careful, because you might be dealing with a very, very hurting young lady. And so that means you now have to go through that process of, do you want to be Mr. Rescue? Are you willing to be Mr. Rescue? So for me, party girls, even when I was not a Christian, I just never dealt with them. They just never ever dealt. I didn't want anything to do with those girls because they were a pain in the butt. All right, we move on. Number 10, heavily tattooed and pierced woman. Then we can take calls at 1935. A few calls. My battery's even running out. So anyway, anyone who chooses to mutilate their bodies with highly unusual and bizarre piercings, as well as cover themselves with so many tattoos that they can be seen even with regular clothing, has serious underlying issues and will most certainly be beyond ordinary. These are not normal. I understand these are not your ordinary girls. I take back the word normal because it makes them sound like they are not normal. That sounds wrong. That's not what I meant. I meant to say they are. they have issues. Okay, so I understand that some men may have a preference for women with tattoos, and there might be a disagreement on what I'm saying. However, based on my personal experiences, I've come to believe that the placement and frequency of tattoos are essential factors to consider. In short, the more apparent these marks and cuts are, the more concerning they should be. Having a discrete tattoo like one hidden in her bikini line is usually not a cause for concern. However, if she has prominently visible tattoos like a tramp stamp or multiple tattoos while wearing regular clothing, it's worth considering what message she's conveying to the world. Covering a beautiful woman with tattoos is akin to plastering bumper stickers all over a luxury car like a Lamborghini. It can be seen as lacking taste. How do you take such a beautiful skin and then plaster it with unremovable markings? You know, in my experience, women with many visible tattoos often exhibit several red flags. A little probe will unearth common but serious red flags like daddy issues, feminism, party girl, seeking validation, and perhaps even a drama queen. All these can be, and that's why they do the tattoos. But it's like a rebellion against society. Like, you know what? F you. I'll put a tattoo where I want. That type of disfiguring becomes a problem when later you find that you go past that phase and you want to get into responsible life. You will be judged harshly because of your tattoos, even when they no longer have any meaning. But because they are permanently on you, they are there. Similarly, heavy piercings can also raise concerns. Earrings are acceptable. Nose ring might be pushing the boundaries, but some cultures, However, if she has extreme piercings, like I said, septum, nipple, can't mention the name, eyebrow, numerous ear piercings on one ear, it may indicate a tendency towards body mutilation, which is another red flag to be mindful of. Body mutilation is a subconscious externalization of self-hate and even serious esteem issues. These lead to overcompensating to be noticed and appreciated. So I'm not stereotyping these women. I'm just telling you that usually these tattoos mean a lot. And what those tattoos say also matter. We continue. Oh, by the way, I forgot. If you want to add an extra score, if she's goth, goth celebrates death. So goth is the whole black thing. I know black is cool.
Tattoos all over the body.
Black hair, black nail polish, black everything. Black. Like she's a widow. That's the celebration of death. So this girl walks with death around her. Even if you're into kinky. Well, the fact that you're into kinky means you're questionable yourself. So number 11, we did that. High sexual partners, right? We did that one. The body count, didn't we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we can skip that. That was number 11. High number of sexual partners, we did that, right? So we move on. And then single mothers, we definitely did that. Let's move on. And then women seeking validation, we did this one, right? Okay, now let's do this one. This is a powerful one. Does your potential woman spend an incessant amount of time on social media posting pictures and videos of herself that are designed to draw attention of men her way? Do these posts include sexually suggestive pictures of herself in skimpy clothing, bare legs, low cleavage, curve emphasizing dressing, and facial expressions that are come hither in nature? Like the pouting lips with the tongue sticking out. Who does that? So these type of women are very dangerous. You see, social media has become an integral part of modern society, with a vast majority of women participating. However, it's advisable to steer clear of so-called influential women who employ public social media platforms to attract men. Okay, while there aren't any absolute distinctions between good and bad women on social media, those who make wiser choices tend to utilize private accounts. This means they only share their posts with friends and family, refraining from posting suggestive images and actively seeking approval, comments, and direct messages from men. Bluntly speaking, suggestive images are those that are sexual in nature or indecent. These would hold images of themselves in micro mini skirts, curve enhancing dresses, low displayed cleavage, or in some cases, actual nudity. That, of course, that the type that can be gotten away on social media. So you hide the nipple, batika bam kaoneka chani, in the name of whatever they call it. There are also cases where one may share videos of themselves dancing in sexually suggestive ways, like twerking. That qualifies under the same category. Remember there was a cop who was twerking? I think she got fired.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So public accounts that leverage social media for promoting products or services, treating it as a business, are generally acceptable. There are many fine and solid women that have been using social media for promoting their personal brands, especially for self-help, personal and corporate development service industry. Now, nevertheless, it's important to recognize that she might still encounter advances from men even in such cases. This is not their fault. So you can't fault such women, and it should never be an issue. If she's a beautiful woman and she's got a strong public image, there'll always be the guy who pop in the inbox. I mean, my wife would even show me many of those. But I'm a reverend's wife, actually. So, so there's guys like that. So, no issue. But women who regularly upload suggestive photos on public accounts, amassing a following of eager but submissive males, we call them beta males, are essentially marketing something beyond just images. They are also marketing their sexual desirability. Now, there are some women right here in Zambia who I know, who I think are pretty cool. So I never figure why they have to post pictures of their legs all over the place and just really skimpy outfits. I mean, I know a number of them with some pretty big following. Some of them are even journalists and whatever. And you're like, anyway, I mean, if they are married and the husband accepts that, then who am I? You know what I mean? Yeah, who am I? But here's the thing. Women who regularly upload such things, these women openly embrace their hypergamous tendency. Remember that hypergamy is the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with people of higher standing. So if a woman is involved with you but continues, hear me well, brothers, we're ending with this one and you can go. So if a woman is involved with you but continues to seek attention through her online posts, she's likely questioning whether you are the best option available at that moment. Simply put, she's still shopping. Mwanvera, a shopping. Another unfortunate scenario is that many women can actually become consumed by the attention they receive on social media. This is known as affectation. Therefore, if you are considering a long-term relationship with a woman who constantly craves online attention, it's wise to keep a distance and don't get too caught up, because that woman is not ready to commit. Okay? Especially, like I keep saying, displaying what shouldn't be available. Why? I'll say it once more. If you are not marketing, don't advertise.
True.
So why are you advertising? So this is why you need to be careful. So those of you who are courting, another tip for you: if you know her social media handles, take time to go through your sema picture. So if you see to my suggestive photos to azula ati bali ku beach, bali ku, what's the other one, swimming chani huko, posting such pictures, why would she be posting herself in a swimming costume with her bum all over the place? Why? Why? We know people swim, but do you take your pictures and go show them on a public forum? We're not from the West. We're Africans. You see, those are the pictures that will be brought when you're taking to Mbali. There'll be a nephew, a cousin, or an uncle who will say,
they'll pull them up.
Isn't this the same lady that was, but is she the one? Hey? Wasan, you're going to marry a Chihule Chaso. Because that's what they're going to tell you.
Oh, yes.
And then imagine that's your wife and that's all they'll be saying. And then she'll have children in the future, and that's what they'll be referring to. One well-known socialite in this country did a twerk on social media. Like twerk. And then you wonder why marriage is not coming anywhere near. How?
I know who that is.
I know. No names mentioned. Which man? Unless that man is just a better male, like we say, a better male.
No,
these are men who don't mind, if their wife is sexualized. They don't mind that. So there are men like that. But normal men who function, that I know, Zambian men who know and respect the institution of marriage, there's no way you're going to marry a woman who's busy showing her legs on social media every day.
Oh, no.
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 That's not normal. How do you show your legs all over the place? I've seen all the time mango in this amendo. And this is a mendo. Short of showing nipples. No. So stay away from such. Let me stop here so that we allow the feedback, which must be very powerful right now. I'm sure people really want to call and, give their views.
All right. Feel free to come through. The number is 0974 870 877. 0974 870 877. That is the number that you can call us on. This is Prosperity Insights.
That's right. So come through. Meantime, let me continue with that one. So here's the thing. A closed red flag. If even after expressing concern over the said pictures, she continues in that trajectory, you just let him through. You don't need to even score, but just get rid of that person. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're through to Prosperity Insights. Your name and your comment or question.
Thank you. This is Victor.
Victor.
I'm Opao, Newcastle.
Nice one. Go ahead. I mean that. Oh no, I'm not talking about it. Go on.
I'm following the conversation. It's very exciting.
Yes, indeed.
It's unfortunate actually that the world has changed so much. Just give a quick comment. I was in China for 7 years. I left Zambia in 2015. Came back 2022. And the way I left Zambia and the way I found it 7 years later was so different. And seeing ladies on the street, like they are literally naked. Ladies no longer wear bras, and it's becoming normal, and very short dresses. So I think that by and large, the morals have eroded over time, and we become more westernized, which is unfortunate. I think going forward, the only way forward to kind of slow down this kind of thing is teaching from the homes, because sometimes you see children with the parents that are doing shopping in ShopRite, and the child is dressed in a way that you wonder, is this a parent and they came together and she's okay with this? So I think parents, my major comment is on parents. I think we've got a greater role to play to ensure that at least we kind of control the moral decay that's there. Otherwise, truly, we all come from homes, and parents have a part to play. Of course, in society, the church, it's like a concerted effort, but I think more importantly, families have a lot to do. That's my comment on that one.
Well said, Victor. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you. Good.
In fact, Victor is very right. Yeah, there is a number of parents I've seen who let their children, I don't do that. I have daughters. We're very strict about that. So let's allow more calls. And so really, like I was saying, if we can get to a place where one can learn these things, you're better off ending the relationship. Another caller? All right. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Evening. You're through to Prosperity Insights. Who are we speaking to?
Francis within Lusaka.
Please go on, boss.
Yeah. You know what? Program India Ikonka. Yeah, number ina mwisa fimbi na isa kohoti. Yep, sana yes, and if you mulelanda, if you let kapa ground up. Yeah, in taxi driver, so koyango driver.
Oh.
Yeah, so mulum sanga twalolesha fichitika like kulubali kumwandi kulinga nefyo mbona. Moma chechi yamo. Eya kutratinga mwaya. Imifualile kutampira kuliwa na mapepo. Wisa kuliwa ama Christiani. Ifiapu sana. Pia kwa chitafire tutwalo kulikonse mwandini. Like ingefe valandireva previous call kwa wati. Tafiri buno background. Lelo kutemwa ninga temwa ineo. Sorry. Oh God.
No, we're following.
minutes.
Oh, you have a call coming in as a younger driver.
Yeah. Ukutemwaninga temwanine bokwe bati. I generation especially abalina ama 10 years kuisa panshi kikyatwafako kuba control muri dressing because kwena na tusana kona ngufene wini nshinga temwangu mwana kisho kutarira ngichafya matanta panse munchire fya uyo musango yo because it's like ena ponse ali bafi kutifu ndi fino na ngula makwe washishitwa fimota fipanga sense.
Correct.
So echo mukulumba kwa ndi bashima pepo kutira ti muma chechi na ifofu bafyashi tufuire tu control generation kutampira pali 10 years ukuisa panshi hapana ngolo kutama pali 15 years 12 years ukuisa panshi pako wati wambio kuishiwa dressing kutampira mchechi pandunga marosha baroma baitulanga kale baroma mwele barabika kwenye fitenge kuli wakuya babika kwenye fitenge babika kwenye fitambala kumutwe echo na ifo bene fuwe bare konka bonse kutwafumani kuroma tulapepa machecha apsana badira background yes wonse fe muno mchalo nomba muri ulo msango tufe twalanga ile respect ya kutirati ero ndi kuchechi chawamana monekefi chawamana fwalefi ero ndi kuchechi kanji muri ulo msango bashima pepo kwena lesale mirundira kumufenza fe muri chitapa kwala ichalo chakwa lese chipantanshi otherwise ifi na fula mchalo.
Indeed, please continue working well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, cheers. Right. Very well put input from that gentleman there, and he really has raised some valid points to run. Let's maybe take 2 more calls and call it an evening. We are looking at red flags to avoid when it comes to the woman. I was supposed to do a man version, but hello. Okay, you really sound faint. Hello? Maybe you need to get near. Good evening, although you're still faint. But anyway, go on.
All right, yeah. So I'm not concur with your comment on this subject. So what I feel is social media has been
No, sorry. You have to call us again. Your line is very bad. We can hardly hear you. You're breaking throughout. So just try again.
Let me try again.
Yeah, call again. All right. So we still can take 2 more calls before we call it an evening. Just let's take another call. Yeah. So I'm just reading a note here, which is very true. There are socialites who are good evening. Good evening. Come through. I'll do this after.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful program. Very insightful.
Yes.
So what women should also know is that we're not trying to gag their style. Because naturally a woman was designed by God to attract a man, obviously for procrastination in the rightful order. So can you imagine a woman who was naturally, just by nature, they were created to attract a man. And imagine they are dressed inappropriately. So naturally they'll call us men sexist and what and fashion, but really I think good things like diamonds
are
gold,
covered. They're
pearls,
deep.
They are all covered.
That's true.
Beautiful things are covered.
That's right.
So women should just get back their natural respect. They don't need to undress to attract a man.
Yeah.
By nature, they do attract men by creation.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Well said, and that really, really puts it really well. We'll take that as our last call. You have said it very well. It is true that women are already attractive, and you know, modesty also attracts the right person. Remember that you attract who you are. So if you're going to go around and show your legs and think that that's going to attract a good guy. No, you will attract somebody that will come purely based on what you attracted them for. So if you want to attract somebody intellectually, showcase your intellectuality. If you want to attract a person physically, of course you showcase your physicality. So that's very, very dangerous. Now, I got a note, which is very good. Let me read it. When we talk about socialites, they are even more celebrated in spite of loose morals dress-wise. These branded influencers are the ones who are invited to officiate at serious events from reputable institutions. What's the comment? So that was a text from someone. That's very true. The truth of the matter, I'll be very honest with you. The truth of the matter is those events have committees. Those committees have people who think this is okay. So depending on the kind of event, they will look for people who they feel are going to do their brand well. Because there are certain events that they will definitely not invite certain types of people. Forget it. I even know. I don't need to name the institutions, but I know there are institutions which will never invite some of these so-called influencers because they say, no, not that one. No way. No way. We're not going to invite that one. We want somebody who's... So you'll notice that amongst the socialites, there are those who carry themselves in a very respectable manner. And a number of our presenters here on this show, on this station, are they carry themselves in a very, very good manner. So those get invited and they don't use... I mean, for example, I can mention her because I really love this young lady, Keturah. Keturah in no way sexualizes herself, at least the way I know her. I've known her. She doesn't use that. She just has a strong personality. Another one, of course, is Honey. You know, they've built this reputation around their voice and their presence. So there's no sexuality at all. Well, at least from where I stand. I've never seen them twerking. I've never seen them do anything funny. But there are people who their whole image is built around their sexuality. So obviously, clients will also pick those who they like. It's unfortunate, though, that that's the case, that there are going to be people who like that. And there are going to be people who want such women to grace their occasions because perhaps it lines up with whatever their brand is, isn't it?
But also, I think, controversy. Some of these people just want controversy, but also they want numbers.
Yeah, and you can only get numbers by being...
They're trying to push numbers.
Yeah.
So if you bring a character, obviously, who's known to be whatever, it means,
like, okay,
on that particular day, that is when everyone, I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yeah, of course.
People have gone live on TV and said things and... we've seen it happen.
No, you're right. I mean, I can't even argue with it because it's a fact that that's why I bet the other individual twerked. That's why, for example, that friend of mine who disowned me, the photographer. I guess that's why he did what he did and has been doing what he does.
He does this a lot these days, though.
He does this a lot. Yeah, he's always doing that.
There's a particular day when he likes to dance a lot. And crazy following. Yeah.
So people like that. And
they love that.
Remember, he had a relationship with some crazy woman who now started threatening him. But knowing him, you don't know if that's real or it's part of the gimmick because that's how he is. So we can't know if that was real or that was all because he did that before with the other musician and he came on air and admitted that we do these things for numbers. So if the fact that he said it means even the so-called beef is not real. You know, it's mostly just for the sake of creating controversy. And that's his strategy, and I guess it works. But for me, I think that's just not our space, really. We want to bring real value and, promote morals and good standing. And I think many beautiful women can do that without having to show legs. And for me, that's why I feel that those who show legs and cleavage and nakedness, for me, it's attention seeking. It's not just controversy. They have issues they are dealing with, and they find comfort in a whole big crowd of people they don't know admiring them. They actually it's like a stripper. It's like a stripper. The fact that they strip and men are paying money in a twisted way, they feel good. In a twisted way, even though that's strange, but they feel good. Why do girls go into porn? It's a twisted way. They do it that way. Maybe some, of course, the porn industry is very weird, but there are people who actually desire to be admired in that way. And if you go into their past, you find there's a painful past, and that's what drives them that way. Yeah. So anyway, we're done for today. So next week I have the AI lady. They're having a very big conference coming up at SELA And so she's going to be here, Sarah Njamo, sorry. She's going to be here next week, and we're going to be talking about the AI conference. AI is really doing crazy things, so you don't want to miss. Next week, we're going to go deep into it because it's changing the landscape. I mean, the things I'm doing on AI myself are freaky. Like, wow. So there's a lot of jobs going. You want to be part of that next week. So over to you, Nono.
Thank you, Rev. There you have it. That's it for today's episode of Prosperity Insights. Be sure to catch the good Rev next week on Thursday, just after 18:30, right here on Hot FM. The news is coming up at 20.